So week one of the National Football League in the books. I'm Matt Levine, welcoming you to the 954sports.com YouTube channel. Thanks for stopping by. Lots of videos up on the channel. Help yourself to check out a few. I thank you for doing so. So what I'm going to focus in on is some of the numbers regarding those ratings for viewership in the National Football League via the old dummy box, as they call it, right? The television, the tube, the telly. Interesting. After 1 week in the NFL, I expected a nosedive, and that's what happened. In certain capacities, I mean, there was some good, there was some bad, there was some ugly, and kind of a mixed bag overall with the ratings. However, if you're down, which the National Football League was cumulatively with their respective networks by one viewer from last year, it's a loss. I don't care what you say. And overall, according to Fox, this is how it looked for the National Football League after, again, week one viewership nationally. Televised games was down from last year, which was 96.6 million, down about 8 million to 88.2 million this year. If you take into account, of course, the opener with Kansas City and Houston, World Championship Chiefs at Arrowhead on Thursday night, through the full docket of games Sunday into Sunday night, into Monday night's doubleheader, and we'll talk a little bit about the ratings in all of those. Now, if you take a look at this text right here, and I want to definitely give credit to, it's not a text, it's a tweet, and that's Austin Karp, who put this out today. You can see what the individual networks were able to do. So we'll get to that as well. The highlight mainly for the National Football League on Sunday was, as we'll roll some of the actual football, was the primetime game with Tom Brady in his debut for the Buccaneers at New Orleans. This is the highest rated game, so this is the good for the weekend in the National Football League. Overall, 25.8 million, an 8% increase from last year's primetime game on Sunday with the Giants at Dallas. So again, the highlight for the National Football League. Speaking of Dallas and the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Sunday night, there you have beautiful Dallas and that Fort Worth, DFW skyline. I've been there before. Been to Dallas more times than often. I've been stuck in the airport, but I've had a chance to check out the city a little bit. I like it. I like Texas as a whole. The game in the DFW area down 20% on the Sunday night opener for the Cowboys against the Rams from last year's opener for the Cowboys. Down nationally. Right down the toilet. Whoosh. 28% overall. So not good for Jerry Jones and the Cowboys. As you see, they had one player kneel. And I think that's how Jerry probably felt about that. As you see the saying there with the commissioner. Go woke, go broke. Ain't the first one to say it, ain't the last. Meanwhile, on the old television set, as far as the Thursday night game, it was a flop also down the old crapper. Whoosh. That's a horrible, horrible toilet bowl sound effect, but you get the drift. Down 12.3% from last year's opener between the Green Bay Packers and Chicago Bears. A 10-year low in the National Football League for openers. And yes, I would say it qualifies for being an NFL opening day ratings flop. Let me line up some of the Monday night openers, but let's give you some reading material. I said in the last video I did yesterday about LeBron James and the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department challenging him to help them raise the reward money, for the finding the killer in that terrible murder in Compton this weekend. A sucker for political comics, especially when it comes to sports. So you can read that on your own, get what you make of it. Certainly is a woke era in the NFL. In fact, this week, I want to get more into it. The potential of an actual full-on boycott in the National Football League and talk about some of the social justice highlights, if you can call them that, or things that went on in week one. I'll talk more about that this week, but my focus right now is on the ratings. And if you go back to the Monday night ratings, well, yep, right down the old crapper. That toilet bowl is talking to me. Actually, it's talking to the NFL. Steelers and Giants. Ouch. Enough of the toilet. 10.8 million viewers on ESPN. They took a hit. Down 20% on the early game of the traditional Monday night doubleheader that the NFL has. Back when I watched the games, I used to love that. Say it like it was 7 years ago. It feels like that. All of 2020 does. Titans, Broncos, the nightcap, 7.7 million viewers. That's it. Ouch. Yep. Down 38% from last year. So tough sledding overall for the National Football League. Let's take a look at that overall tweet of the assessment there by Mr. Austin Karp. Did a nice job on his tweet of breaking it out nicely. So the CBS single header down 12%, almost 14 million viewers. Fox Regional up 7%. Fox did well, as I mentioned. The national game, the third one down, up 8% from last year's opener with Brady and Breeze. We'll sell out Breeze. NBC's Sunday night down 15%, 18.9 million. And there you have it. Talked about the Cowboys. Rams, the lowest Sunday night opener since the Bears Colts in 2008. That was also an election year. So I'm sure it has lots to do with it. Very interesting times right now for the National Football League. Thursday night on down. Roger Goodell going all in on the social justice platform. Allowing the players to call the shots, more or less, if you ask me. But at the end of the day, I will tell you this, folks. The ratings continue to plummet. It's a very simple formula. And I bet you, as you take another look, I take another look with you, right? That's about 8 million less people watching this time around than last year for week one. And in the NFL, I know, it's a marathon, not a sprint. We have a long way to go. I mean, the Super Bowl last year, a record, about 102 million viewers. You have a long way to go before we even talk about that. It's a week-to-week, day-to-day way to take things in life. I don't care who you are, what side of the fence you're on, politically, social justice-wise, this, that, the other thing. We take things, I think, slower than we ever had right now in certain ways. You really can't forecast what could happen. It's the unknown, and the NFL right now is in that. But at the end of the day, my point is this. It's a simple formula, right? You need to generate viewers to charge for advertising And these networks who shell out a ton of dough to get these rights for the games, they look to make a profit on it and pay their bills. As you say, in all forms of media, especially in the broadcast media, right? When you go to the commercials, we need to pay the bills. That's right. You pay your bills. You pay for your personnel, your expenses, your overhead, and then you clear a profit. However, if the ratings and the viewership are not there, you're not going to be able to charge for the advertising, let alone having stands that are basically like this. How about the smattering of boos? What were there, 15,000 at Arrowhead Stadium? They didn't dig the opening ceremonies of the NFL, which, again, I'll get into later this week. Stay tuned for that on the 954sports.com channel here, the YouTube channel, for more videos to come. But if ratings, like you saw in the Thursday nighter, the Monday nighter, Sunday nighter, they continue like that, and there's no way to make a buck off the fans, and I mean, I'm sure a lot of you out there have been to professional sporting events, right? You know how much it costs for the parking, for grabbing yourself a cold one, a refreshment, a snack. Maybe you bring the kid and you want to grab him a foamy finger, pennant. Just every little expense, it adds up. It's very expensive to go to the old ballpark or the football field nowadays, the gridiron, to go see a game. Especially if you're taking, the normal family of 4, let's say. I mean, that's a big-time expense. Now you don't really have that with COVID. You have it in a very small fraction with allowing, 15,000 when there would be probably, 50-something thousand, 55 to 60,000, making a lot of noise at Arrowhead. So you miss out on that revenue at the gate and then some. And now if you're looking to make it up on revenues that rely on viewership and you don't have that, that is a problem. And the NFL, yes, it's woke. It's embracing all this. But at the end of the day, I'll tell you this. Social justice, political justice, whatever the cause is, whatever the criteria may be, the subject matter may be, whatever the color may be, there is one thing that the NFL cares about more than anything. That is revenue. And the color of that is green. If this doesn't come in and the boycott goes into full effect and the viewership is not there, the ratings are not there, you're not going to have that flowing in, and that's going to be a problem. Now, the only thing we can do is let time tell. I can't look in a crystal ball and tell you what's going to happen. I can just talk about it in real time as it does. So we'll see what happens in week 2 of the NFL with the ratings. Week 1, though, overall, you chalk it up for a loss for the National Football League.